Yo, good people. It's your homie HerbMan, and you back upside the head with another hot banger boogie. Hey, look, go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. And if this is your first time tuning in to the HerbMan show, go ahead and hit that logo right at the bottom of your screen right there and hit that notification bell so that you never ever miss what we bring to your table. All right. So now let's get started. We're talking about bioaccumulation. What is bioaccumulation? How important is this? And what do we need to do after we find this information out to move forward? All right, so we all know that we're dealing with toxic environment wherever we go, okay? And we can get these toxins in our system via our nose, breathing it in. We can get it via our mouth by what we eating, and we can also get it through our skin, okay? We can get it through our skin. And so those are three of the ways that toxins can get into your body. And so when we're talking about our industrial lifestyle, when we're talking about our industrial world, we have to understand that there are a lot of heavy metals, a lot of toxins that are being created in our atmosphere, and we are absorbing these particular metals and toxins, and we may not be dispelling those particular toxins at the rate that we are consuming them. So this is a video you definitely want to watch. Now, what is bioaccumulation? By definition, this is the gradual accumulation of pesticides and other chemicals when an organism absorbs a substance at a faster rate than that which the substance is lost during catabolism or excretion. Okay, what this is saying is that you are consuming these toxins and these chemicals in at a particular higher rate than you are releasing them, than they are leaving your body. Okay, they are leaving your body. So these chemicals are being stored in our fat cells, okay? And at a particular time, they will be released in our bloodstream if we don't excrete them, get them out of our system. That's why, again, it's very important to grow your own food, but twice as important as that is to get it out of your system, to flush your system. That's why you should not be eating a meal until you have excreted the last meal you ate, okay? You shouldn't be wanting a meal until after the last meal is gone, all right? Because this is very important to our health. And moving forward, when we're talking about a toxic environment and how we're going to take care of ourselves with any type of viruses, bacteria, any kind of fungi, any type of thing that is out there that can attack our system, we need to know what we can do to really start this food revolution, and making sure that at least what we're eating and at least what we're drinking and what we're consuming on that particular level, what we put in our mouths, we can do something about, okay? We can do something about that. And if we stay on the government, if we stay on the type of lifestyle that we demand that the world has for us as the citizens of the world, then we also can move and shake the governments, move and shake some of these systems to prepare food, to grow food in the proper way to sustain human life and sustain the life of the ecosystem as well, all right? So how can these things get into our system? We know through the air, through our noses, we know through the food, and we also know through the skin. But give me some examples of how bioaccumulation gets to me as a human, okay? So one of them is car emissions, okay? Now, car emissions, we know they go up through the air and they tend to settle on in the air, and they settle on what? They settle in the birds and the trees, okay? And so they affect the birds and they also affect the trees. Now, when it rains, okay, that chemical get poured off into the ground at that particular point, right? Now, the plants and the animals on that particular ground will then what? Will be integrated with these toxins. Okay, they become plant food. And whatever animals eat those plants would then now be the carrier of those toxins. And then whatever eat those animals will begin to come carrier of these toxins. Okay, so if Car emissions is one of those things that causes chemicals to be in the trees and the birds, and then rain allows it to go to the ground, which then allows the plants and the animals on the ground to feed in those same substances, and then the humans can eat those plants or those animals. Then that is a particular way now toxins are inside of a human. Okay, now the next one is mercury. All right, we know that industrial waste and all this electronic waste and all these particular heavy duty industrial industries do their waste, right, and sell out mercury and all this types of stuff. It gets into our water, okay, and it gets into the phytoplankton. All right, and then from the phytoplankton, the zooplankton eats the phytoplankton. Okay, and then there are small fishes that eat the zooplankton, and then there are larger fishes that eat the small fishes. Okay, and then there are animals that, let's say a salmon. A salmon goes and it goes this particular route, and then you have animals that eat salmon. Okay, and now it's in those animals, and then we can come behind and eat those animals. And now we get mercury that way. Or we can just clearly put our rod into the water and start fishing for freshwater salmon. All these particular fishes that live, herring and all these types of things. And we can get our doses, high doses of mercury through the fish that we eat or through the animal that eats those fish. Again, another way it gets to your table. Another way it gets to your table, okay? And so that's why it's important to understand what we can do as people. Once you mandate how you want your food to be, right, then it's going to cause a ripple effect in the food chains and in the food webs that we have to at our disposal. It will cause industries to change their format. It will cause mass production of foods to change the way that they are delivering the food to the tables and to the grocery stores, okay? But we have to want this, and this is why I call this the bioaccumulation, the food revolution. So as we're fighting for our rights in these things and rights in these things, we also need to fight for our right to know that we're eating what the label is saying that we're eating. Now, what's the third example? We clearly understand this one is pesticides, okay? Putting pesticides on your plants, all right? Putting fertilizers in the ground for your plants, okay? Also can cause what? For the animals and the plants to grow up with these particular chemicals in them. Who eats those animals and the plants? Humans. Humans, okay? So I just gave you 3 examples of how pesticides, mercury, and car emissions and all these chemicals that are inside that can get to your table. All right, so it's important, it's incumbent upon us to understand the importance of gardening, understanding the importance of growing your own food, understanding the importance of hybridizing GMO and real indigenous alkaline seeds that can grow in abundance, understanding what grows in your climate, in your state, in your city. And you can find out all this information, okay? All you got to do is go on to growzones.com or growzones.org or something like that. And it'll just put your information in, and it'll tell you what grows in your neighborhood, in your backyard, in your soil, what your soil is good for. And then you can do that. But how can you grow in your backyard if you're putting a weed killer out there? How can you grow in your flower bed if you're putting weed killer into the soil? So you have to be cognizant of what's going on. And we have to understand these things are affecting us every single day of our lives. Yes, we do need electronics if that's what we want. Yes, we do need some of these industrialized things that we find so convenient in our world. But we also got to understand what they are doing to the environment. We also got to understand what it is putting out in the environment. Then it's being seeped back in from the plants. Remember, the plants suck in oxygen. So what's in the oxygen is what they suck in, okay? What they suck out is what we suck in. What they push out is what we suck in. So we have to be cognizant that if they're breathing in nasty air and breathing out nasty air, then we are breathing in nastiness and breathing it out as well. And not only in the breathing are we doing that, but also in the eating that we're doing that. And if our water is contaminated, then we're also doing that in the drinking. Now, over time, if you cannot catabolize or excrete at a higher rate than what you are intaking, you can fall victim to bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation. Now, what are some of the things that are happening in bioaccumulation? We know that the toxins are entering in through food chains and food webs. All right, so when these things get into the atmosphere, they enter in through our food chain. So if we're eating rows of collard greens, turnip greens, and all of this, and your air is not any good and your ground is not any good, then you're getting all of that into the greenery, the leafy green vegetables, all of the substances that you feel are healthy, all of the things that we call vegetarian and vegan diet and fruitarian diet. If they got a whole bunch of pesticides and a whole bunch of other chemicals in it, is that really healthy food? Okay. If we're talking about eating a pescatarian diet, right, and a pescatarian or whatever y'all want to call it, and it's just eating fish, and we love fish, and we don't eat no chicken, and we don't eat no beef, and we don't eat no pork, but we'll eat some fish, then you are susceptible to high levels of mercury, okay, being consumed. Because why? We are putting this stuff in our ecosystem. So again, when we want to demand to be healthy, that will start a floodgate of things happening within our current system that will create a revolution, so to speak, as to what we would like to be consuming. And we need to do this not just as Americans, but as citizens of the free world, period. Wherever you are, Chinese, Japanese, Asian, Hispanic, it don't matter where you at. You want to fight for the right to eat properly. And the best way you can do this is to grow your own food. It's to learn about gardening. It's to understand the importance of how to water your plants, and the pureness of watering the plants, the pureness of growing your own vegetables and fruits, and understanding the eclecticness that comes behind pure food. The benefit that comes behind eating pure food. So when we're going on these diets and we're going on these all these particular regimens that are out there, we got to understand that if it's not pure, it won't do what it is advertised to do. Okay, it just can't do it. It ain't that it won't do it. It can't. It can't do it. It can't synthesize with your body. It can't create the synergy that is really needed. All right, and we really need to understand this moving forward. This is one of the most important subject matters I have on my particular website, is this particular bioaccumulation and the food revolution, and demanding that we have the right food on our tables. Now, what do heavy metals do? What are some of the things that heavy metal do in our bodies? We know it affects our nervous system, the kidneys, the liver, the circulatory system, and some of us it will affect our reproductive system, as well as give us cancers that are out here and growing prevalent in our system. Okay, it is very important. So you have heavy metals like cadmium, cobalt, lead, mercury. Okay, you also can be in danger if you have high doses of iron, zinc, all right, copper. Those are not good either at high levels. So now if you are eating foods that have these high doses of things in them because of electronic industrial waste, okay, because of car emissions, okay, because of all these different hairsprays and all these different chemicals that we're using, bleaches and fluoride in the water, and chlorine, and it's crazy, man. So what I want you guys to do is continue to look at these videos and learn about how to grow your own food, how to stay healthy. Even if you're healthy, you need to learn how to stay healthy. And this is where you can do it from right here. You can come to the #1 herbal education station on YouTube. All right. And this is the HerbMan Show. And we're going to continue to keep hitting you and busting you upside the head with ways to fight through the challenges that the world that we've created had given us, and then we're going to get solutions to the situation that we created. Because not only can we create them, but we can also create the solutions, man. I love you guys, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Peace.